that was such a horrible moment in my life. I remember my mom was pulling her hair and screaming and crying. And my dad had his head in his hands and he was weeping. And I had never seen my dad cry in my whole life. And I knew in that moment that if he was crying, it had to be about one of his kids. And so I remember the first thing that I thought to ask her, he said, Dad, is Jacob dead? He looked up at me and he said, yeah, Jacob just called him. We had come to find out that my older brother Jacob had passed away in a car accident at the young age of 23 years old. He was downtown Lexington, was killed in a car accident, died of impact, didn't make it to the hospital or anything, died at the scene, and he had been gone for hours and we had no idea that he was even gone. And, it was very traumatic, very tragic. I remember feeling like my life had literally been ripped away and my heart was in so many broken pieces and I was so devastated. I remember thinking to myself, like, what am I going to do without my brother for the rest of my life? My best friend, my biggest encourager, my big brother. And it was so devastating. But in that exact very moment, I heard the voice of God for really the first time in my life. I never really heard him speak directly to me in this way. He said, word for word, I'll never forget it. He said, Anne, are you going to trust me or are you not? And I hadn't really even thought yet like what direction I was going in, but I knew in my gut I had to trust God or was going to survive the tragedy. Because you have that decision to make when you find something like this out. You either go your own direction and push God away, or you cling to God and you go closer to Him. And so I just said, Jesus, I trust you. And it was literally the hardest thing to say in that moment. But when I said it, I immediately felt like this weight had been lifted off of me and I could breathe again. And somehow, someway, I knew in my gut that I was going to survive the loss of my brother and get on the other side. And so I'm standing here today, over 6 years later, as living proof that God can take something so incredibly tragic and turn it into something so beautiful. And He can do the very same thing for every single one of you in here tonight. I love nights like this because it's so special. We get to remind you guys of Jesus and His goodness. And I know there's probably so many of you in here tonight that came because you know my Jesus and you maybe have heard my story and you can relate that maybe you've lost a loved one here tonight, or maybe you just went through a divorce, or maybe you just gone through something really hard, or you just got diagnosed with cancer. Whatever your situation looks like tonight, I want you to know that Jesus is for you. He is not against you. He's with you through the deepest, darkest moments of your pain. Jesus wants to take you by the hand and walk you through the valley, wherever you're going through tonight. And Jesus weeps with you. His heart breaks with you and for you. And He's in this place tonight. I believe it. He loves you so much. And tonight you have an opportunity to lay all that pain and suffering at His feet and allow Him to give you His peace and His joy and His rest tonight. I was writing some songs last fall. I was just talking. Do you guys know Matthew West, the incredible Matthew West? He's one of my good friends. We write songs together a lot. We just pretty much wrote my entire record together this last summer. He's amazing. Such a good songwriter. And we were sitting down talking about just what I was going through in my life. And I was kind of angry at this point in my grief cycle. This is last fall. And I just said, Matthew, I feel like there are so many songs about heaven, but there are no songs that sit in reality for just a second. There's no songs that face pain and face death and just talk about what we really are going through on this side. Because when we do face death and we do face pain and we're reminded that, that's when we can remember where our comfort comes from. And knowing that one day we'll be together again with our loved ones in heaven. There will be no more crying, no more tears, no more suffering, but it'll be perfect and peaceful and beautiful. Aren't you guys grateful for that tonight? It was one of those just complete and total gifts from God. It's my favorite song I've ever written so far in my career. We were able to film the music video at my brother's grave site. It's a really special video if you guys haven't seen it. And it's just one of those songs that reminds me so much of a brother and just so many incredible things. And I hope it blesses you. So this is called 7th